Hi, today we are going to interview former India A cricketer, India under 19 cricket player, who is also part of the World Cup winning team 2000, which happened in Sri Lanka. He is also part of a CSK, that is Chennai Super Kings, for the first three editions of the IPL. And he is the only player to score 100 in a first class cricket, batting at number 11 and at a number 1 position, which is a unique world record. Hello, Vidyut.
Hi, Prabha. Nice to be here. Thank you.
Tell us about the life of a professional cricketer, how it's going to be after post COVID, mentally and physically.
Yeah, definitely tough times. As we all know, we've been going through a lot of hardships all over the world. Not only for cricketers, for different sports people, and especially for professionals. It's a very hard time for all of us, and it's not easy. I've been speaking to a lot of cricketers. I've been counseling a few players as well because they're looking forward to a lot of cricketing activity, but nothing has been happening. For the youngsters and for the senior players. Yes, the international players have been playing some cricket. Some domestic players have been playing, but otherwise it's very difficult for players. And I think people from Tamil Nadu, Mumbai are lucky because they are employed with a lot of companies, and the companies have been generous enough to contribute and give them salaries. But if you look at the smaller states where a lot of people look forward to the first class season, which has not been happening in 2020, and look very unlikely that it may happen this year. So it is tough. I think mentally it's very difficult. It's been very hard times. A lot of people, bread and butter comes because of cricket for them, and we have 10 associate states playing, so it's very hard on them. How long can you keep preparing for? You come day in and day out, prepare. What do you prepare for when there's nothing? It gets emotionally also, it's tough on the players. But having said that, I think on the physical aspect, it shouldn't be a problem once they get into the groove. They spend maybe 2-3 weeks, they will get back. And I think mentally, once they realize that, okay, we have a season to look forward to, I think it'll play a big part. And I think BCCI will step up and do something for these players. I think there are talks that they will compensate them, which is very good. Let's hope that the second wave is coming to an end, and I really hope that at least this season from November onwards, these players can come and express themselves and get back to a normal life. That's what I hope and pray for.
So more than you like to say that they are affected more mentally than physically.
Definitely. I think in the physical aspect, like I said, once they know that they're going to get some cricket coming, I think they'll be fine. All of them are good skilled players. And I know a lot of people who have been doing a lot of physical fitness and keeping themselves fit. They have nothing much. Skill wise, you can't do much at home. As a professional, you can just maybe do a few throwdowns with a tennis ball, or you just do a few drills, which a lot of amateurs do, but professional players have nothing much to do. So a lot of people are doing a lot of fitness to keep fit. That's one aspect. I think players are going to come back a lot fitter and even mentally fresher once things start for them. But till then, it's going to be a little tough for them because they don't know what is going to happen. And definitely mentally, it's a lot tougher for them. Physically, once they get back on the field, I think they will never look forward to a game as much as they're going to do now than in the past.
As you're coaching for a long time also, so you can also see your professional cricketers whom you are coaching. They're also, can you see them mentally, they are little affected with one step back when you compare them before 6 months?
Yeah, like I said, I've been coaching a lot of young cricketers and professional cricketers, and the young cricketers are okay because a lot of people in the under 16, are missing out on a lot of crucial years, but under 19 people have time. So young cricketers are okay. They're mentally fresh and they're using this time well. But people who are in between, who are in jobs and all these years are very crucial for them. So a lot of people are in the peak of their career, so for them it's very hard. I've spoken to a few people who are playing for Tamil Nadu. They really want to go out and express themselves and perform. So all around, I think it's been a very challenging time, but I think coming out of it is going to be the key. Once they start, I think the first 2-3 months will be difficult once they start playing to get back into the groove. But you've been seeing IPL players of, after 2-3 games, they have been there, they have been expressing themselves, they have been playing sometimes even better than what they used to do. So I don't think that should be a problem. But at a professional level, people know what to do. But for the younger kids, it may take a little bit of time. But they should be fine. Let's just hope that they open up and get back to...
lot of online coachings, online classes. Yeah. Some do a lot of fitness during these sessions and all, like with you. So how it is going on?
Yeah, see, online coaching, quite honestly, there's nothing much you can do. If you're a person learning the game, yes, there is a lot. You can do a lot of drop ball drills, rolling ball drills. So for them, they're learning the game. You can work on their grip and other aspects. But for a professional, what can you do inside your house? You can do maybe a few drills, just put it, and you need somebody to do throwdowns to you as well. So it's not easy. And but you can do fitness. Yes, fitness is one aspect where I can really take your game to the next level. I think a great example, somebody like a T. Natarajan. He said even in a small town in Salem, he did a lot of a different kind of exercise which really helped him execute Yorkers well during the IPL, and then he carried the same form to the Indian team. So I think he's a great inspiration, and he showed that even in these times, if you put your mind towards achieving your target, it can be done. So it's not that it's not possible, it's hard, but it can be done. If you find a path that you want to achieve, it can definitely be achieved.
So the other biggest news is very good news for the cricket lovers is, I think BCCI has announced September 19 the IPL is going to begin again from where they left. So how it's going to make an impact even for the teams in the Indian conditions. Some teams might be doing good, like Chennai Super Kings. They have auctioned very good people who can play better in Indian conditions, and is going to impact. There is going to be a drastic change in the points table, or what you say?
I think that's a fantastic question. I'm looking forward to that because it's never happened before, where you've played half tournament and then you're going to a completely different center to play other half of the tournament. And you mentioned, I think I'll be very, very keen to see how CSK does, because I think last year they had a quiet tournament. First time in the history of IPL they didn't qualify for the top 4, and that too they played it in Dubai. And maybe it didn't suit their style of play, but this year they have a lot of good players. They have a lot of good young players. I think Moeen Ali is a fantastic pick, and he has shown what he is capable of. You have some amazing players. Ruturaj Gaikwad has been a good pick. Sam Curran, Raina is back in the squad. So you have somebody like Gautam who's not even got to play, and Chahar and Shardul Thakur have been doing well, and of course Dhoni is always there, the evergreen Dhoni. And you saw what Raidu did against the Mumbai Indians. He scored 70 of 27 balls. So yes, it is going to be difficult because Dubai, the grounds are slightly bigger, the wickets may be slightly slower, so you may have to work the ones and twos a lot more than getting the boundaries and sixes. I think 2020 that was the problem. We were an aging team at that point to an extent, so even when you play 2-3 dot balls and those wickets, hitting the big sixes were not as easy as what it was in India. But this year I think we have a fantastic squad, and it won't affect CSK as much as it did last year, but it's not going to be easy. Again, you have to get back to your training methods. You have to get again the life in a bio bubble, which is not easy at all, which is that's something we need to talk about. Is very, very mentally plays in the player's mind, because as a player, after a tough game, you want to go out, have a meal, or in the break day you want to go out, do a lot of other things which is not possible in a bio bubble. You're always stuck to that place, just going to the ground, coming back. So but I think the IPL players are pros in dealing with it, because they've been doing it for 2 years. They're going to do another half season now in Dubai, so I don't think it should affect them too much. But yeah, I think we were talking earlier about CSK. Other teams, I don't think there'll be too much of changes, because maybe I think I'll be very interested to see how KKR goes, because I thought KKR was a fantastic side on paper. You have people like match winners like Morgan, Andre Russell, and Dinesh Karthik is fantastic. Shubman Gill, you have Kuldeep who's not getting to
Nitish
play.
Rana.
Yeah, Varun Chakravarti. Yeah, you have some amazing cricketers. They have not clicked. So maybe this change may do good for a team like KKR. But I think otherwise, it should, because Delhi Capitals are a fantastic team. Mumbai Indians, amazing team. CSK is a great time. So I don't, because they have a winning momentum going in their favor, it shouldn't be too much of a problem for them. But
you think which team will have the biggest impact on going to Dubai? Because last year CSK struggled a lot in Dubai. So a lot of good teams struggled, not only CSK, even the better batting sides have due to their weather conditions, even we could see CSK was struggling. Ruturaj Gaikwad and all has shown his class in the last phase of the Dubai. So will you think there will be a drastic change, the playoffs see in this played the 7 matches, it has almost decided who is going to make the playoffs. But you think there will be a drastic change again?
I think the first 2 games are very important. I think especially for a team like CSK, if they go do well in the first 2 games, then they're going to cruise through. Okay, because if you're going to lose 2 games, then it starts working in your mind. Oh God, we've come to Dubai again. We've started losing. How do we come out of it? So I think the first 2 games are going to be very crucial, not only for CSK, for all teams. Even for a team like RCB, who have been doing so well. If they lose 2 games, then you start, okay, I've come here, is it not working my way? You don't want all that to work in your mind. But these are professional cricketers, so I don't think it's going to, play too much on their minds. But like I said, I want to see how KKR does. I think KKR, for the team they have performed very, very poorly. If they can have a good spark, maybe 3 games, 3 victories, I don't see they may be able to upset a few teams.
What do you think about RCB? What they are going to do from here? They have done already well in Dubai. They have qualified for playoffs, and now also they are in a good position. So what do you think about Virat Kohli's?
I think RCB is a fantastic side. I have always felt RCB is a side which depended too much on AB and Virat. But things have changed now. You have somebody like a Devdutt Padikkal who is in amazing form. I think he is the future of Indian cricket. You have somebody like Glenn Maxwell. You know what he's capable of in T20 cricket. And you have some good bowlers who have come into their team. So I think they are in red hot form. Chahal is always there. They have a good young left arm spinner who's done well for them, and so they have the squad to win. I feel Delhi Capitals and RCB have the squad to win. Obviously, you can never write out Mumbai Indians and CSK. So I think these four teams have a fantastic chance. And I think with like you said, the 7 games are over. So I think. And these are very, very good sides. So I don't think they're going to give a chance to the other teams. I think Sunrisers will find it a little difficult. RR is a very, very young side. I think they depended a lot on players like Butler, Jofra Archer and Ben Stokes. In that they lost 2 of the main players. So I think the team played around them. With them not being there, I think it affected them very, very badly. So looking at how Sunrisers and Rajasthan Royals and KKR have been playing, and obviously Punjab Kings were also a good squad, but they lost KL Rahul at a crucial time. Looking at how I think these 4 teams will have a much better chance, although they are going to play in Dubai. But it will be interesting to see. I think the only chance of the top 4 teams losing out is if they go to play badly in the first 3 games. Once they play the first 3 games, well, I think these are going to be the top 4.
As you played a lot of cricket, you have played a lot of domestic cricket, you have been even competed with a lot of international cricketers. So what you suggest the professional cricketers now after this pandemic situation? What you advise them, or basically what you suggest them from where they have to begin from here?
A good question. I think a lot of professional cricketers have been working on the game. It's not that they've not been doing it. I think fitness levels are going to be high because there is a lot at stake. I saw, like we just spoke about T. Natarajan. So I think my advice to them is, obviously they'll be looking forward to the season a lot. Like they've not played cricket in a long time. I'm talking about a domestic player. I think international players have been playing in and around. They've been in good touch and they've been having camps. So, within the bio bubble, but a lot of people have not played. I think for them, it is very important that, they are mentally fresh and they look forward to the season and, think about the positives. Like you're getting an opportunity to, showcase what you're capable of, which has not happened in a long time, and not worry too much about what has happened in the past. If you're going to think about what has happened, I think it's not going to help at all. If you're going to get into the thought that I've not played in a long time, what is going to happen in the first 2 games? If you're going to get that thought, I've not played a 3-day game in a long time, how am I going to survive, or what am I going to do? So you don't want those kind of things creeping. So I think your mental makeup is very, very important. Your emotional well-being, coming into the season is going to be the key. So I think if that is in the right direction, I think everything else will take place, because all these guys, I know they've not played for 1 or 2 years, but their skill level is they've been playing from a very, very young age. So I think 2-3 weeks of good preparation will lead them into the tournament. And what I also feel is, if they are going to get in with a good mental frame of mind, for a lot of people, and I've seen after people coming back from the pandemic, has done a lot of good for them, because that break, the 2-3 months break, has done a lot of good for them. And there was one player I worked with recently, he had a completely wrong grip, and now he has his grip together, which he tried in this 2-3 months, and is showing great value in his game. So again, it's how you take the, how you are going to treat the pandemic.
Break, what you are
how you have used the break. It is tough. Yes, we've spoken about, but a lot of people have taken it in the positive. I think a great example I keep repeating is somebody like a T. Natarajan. He doesn't even come from Salem. He comes from a small village in Salem which has absolutely nothing, and he's made good use of it. I don't think why other people can't do it. So I think it's the mindset and how you're going to come out of it, and that I think that shows a lot of strength of character. And I look forward to see people who have really come out of it and emerged. Indian team showed it in Australia. They didn't play cricket in a long time, and I think the 4th test they won was actually an India A team, and they beat a strong Australian team. In Gabba, one of the fastest wickets, on a 5th-day wicket, they chased 300. So anything is possible if you're in the right mindset.
A full bunch of cricketers, they started believing themselves.
Yes. So, and even they had to be in the pandemic. So I think Australia, they started early. They played a series against England in England. So they had played some cricket. India came with no cricket at all. So hats off to them.
And the next big thing, India versus New Zealand in Lords. So who has the upper hand? How it's going to be? The whole world is like most excited to see that match. Last time India played against New Zealand in the knockout match in the World Cup, so New Zealand had the upper hand. So New Zealand reached the finals. India has to return back. Will there be a biggest revenge is going to happen between India versus New Zealand? It's between Kohli versus Williamson, or it's how it's going to be?
I think so, and I hope so. India will win. I think India, if you see on paper, definitely seem to be a stronger side. I think our bowlers have been fantastic. India, when they're traveling, they've always had. I think the only thing which has been difficult is taking 20 wickets. And I think this team has shown that they can do it day in and day out, which is fantastic. The bowlers are fit, raring to go, fresh. Like I said, this break may do a lot of good for them. I think. New Zealand are a very, very smart side. They may not be as skilled as India, but if you see how they plan, how they execute, you saw now against England, they have played beautifully. I think the only thing going for New Zealand is they're going to play 2 tests, so they have some match practice. India have not been playing for a while now, so I think that's going to be a big thing in favor of New Zealand. But if you look team-wise, I think we have the upper hand, and I think that victory against Australia in Australia. With a team without 8 players having won a series is going to give us sky high confidence. I think this Indian team has tremendous confidence, unbelievable confidence. So I think we should win this. It's very sad there's only 1 test. I would have liked a 3-test series for a World Test Championship. I think Ravi Shastri also mentioned. I think it's very difficult to determine a world champion in 1 match. But anyway, that's not to be. But I think. Heart says India, even mind says little bit in favor of India, but never underestimate New Zealand. They are a very, very smart side. They play to their strength. They know their limitations. They are brilliant on the field. They are players who rise up to the occasion, and it's not between Kohli and Williamson. I think it's between 11 and 11 of equally skilled players. Skill-wise, India is slightly better, but New Zealand are good in English conditions because it's very, very similar to New Zealand, where the ball moves. It's not pace and bounce, it's movement, lateral movement. So how we are going to deal with this is going to be the key.
And they have already started their preparation playing match against England. And India is yet to be in there.
So that's what I said. I think that's the only advantage that New Zealand have. They have played 1 test. They have found a new champion, Conway, who got a double-handed and debut. Hats off to him. It's I think a very, very special moment, and Saudi has done well for them. They have Trent Bolt, who's a fantastic cricketer. They have Wagner, they have Watling, they have Ross Taylor, who's was a veteran, has done great things for them. Obviously Williamson, one of the best in the world. So they have very, very good players, and they play as a team. I think the biggest strength of New Zealand is they play as a team, and they play ICC events very, very well. 2015 World Cup final, 2019 we all saw that game. It could have gone either way. So they're a good team. I think they'll be a great team to beat in the finals, but India are definitely capable of it.
Exactly. Do you think like India will go with the 2 spinners, or they'll go with only Ashwin?
Again, good question, because I think looking at the conditions,
because Ashwin has showed his masterclass of batting in both in Australia also as well as in Chennai 100, has showed how good he can bat. So will they go ahead with this, or Jadeja's form, which is currently showing for the 2020s, and he can also show what he can do with the white ball also. So he can also score a lot of 50s in Test cricket also. So how it's going to be?
So Jadeja did very well in Australia. He got a crucial 70 before he fractured his thumb. He got 4 wickets and a good batting surface in Australia, and you know what he can do in the field. So it's going to be a very, very difficult. Ashwin, 400 wickets plus 500s, a proven customer, one of the best in the world. So it's a good headache to have. I think looking at the conditions, they're going to play in Southampton, where the wicket may have a little bit of movement, pace and bounce. So they may go into the 4th fast bowler, or I think Jadeja can play the all-rounders role, where he can bowl a bit, and so it'll be interesting to see, because I think that's what they went with in Australia, with Jadeja and Washington Sundar played in Gabba wicket, which had pace and bounce. So they may go with 3 and 2, or they may be tempted to go with 4 and 1, 4 fast bowlers, because England the ball moves on a lot more. But I think closer to the game, they will see the conditions and make a call. So it's going to be 1 test, and I don't think Jadeja or Ashwin will mind sitting out for a game, for the team's cause, if it means playing an extra fast bowler. But ideally, I would like both of them to play, because both are proven all-rounders. Both are unbelievable players who can win games for your side. So it'll be interesting to see. I think it'll all be to do the conditions, how the wicket is going to be and how they're going to go about it.
What will be the plans of BCCI apart from international cricket? So what the BCCI will plan now for the domestic players?
Yeah, it's hard. I think it's very hard. But knowing BCCI, they done so much for the game. I think they will step up and compensate their domestic players. How they're going to do it, we don't know. When they're going to do it, we don't know. But I think that's why it's very important the IPL happens. IPL, we get a lot of revenue out of that event, so it should happen. And I think BCCI won't let their players down. They will do something. We don't know when it's like. It may happen in 2 months. It may also take 1.5 years for it to happen. So, but definitely, like last year, they had the one days and the T20. This year also, they will plan something. Let's hope this is the end of the pandemic and we are able to get the Ranji Trophy season back on track. And but I think the biggest challenge is when you're talking about 25 to 30 teams, creating a bio bubble for all teams is going to be very difficult. I think that's one of the reasons they couldn't have the event as well. So that's going to be a challenge. But if things get under control, and obviously we have vaccines now, so I'm being optimistic. I really hope that we are going to get something on track and cricket will be back. And I really look forward to seeing some wonderful domestic cricket. International cricket is going to go on with bio bubbles and IPLs are going to go on, but I want domestic cricket to happen because that's where we can really find some good talent. And not only about players, you're talking about coaches, you're talking about umpires, you're talking about support staff, you're talking about doctors, you're talking about physios. So all of them are missing out because of this. So I really hope we get back to it. And I'm very confident it's going to happen this year.
And final question with you. As you're coaching for a long time and the youngsters who are going to start playing, the very young kid guys, and after that like the professional cricketers you are already training with them. So what is the best advice you will give them? They are going to start after a pandemic. Some might be in a good form before that. Some might be like trying to gain their form back. So you are coaching them for a long time as you are a very experienced player in the domestic cricket. So what you personally advise them? They might have spoken a lot to you in the phone calls, everything. So what you basically advise them?
Yeah, I think more than the kids, it's the parents who are very concerned, because I have parents coming and tell me my son has missed 1 or 2 years of under 16, everything is gone, blah and everything. So I think it is hard that you aspire to play under 14, under 16, but I think that's not the be all and end all of cricket. I've seen a lot of people who have done very well under 14, under 16 and just fade away. But I've seen people like Badrinath who has not even played any age group cricket and he became a superstar. MS Dhoni. You've seen his movie. He didn't get to play under 19 in India, but he's leading the team. He's become one of the the greats of the game. So I think yes, you do want to play junior level cricket, but I think parents need to understand that yes, it's been hard, but there is a lot more to cricket. 14, 16 is a time where you want to develop your game. So you need to use this time to develop your skill, understanding how to build an innings, how to adapt to different conditions, and that's what you can do now. There's nothing more you can do. They have been playing some cricket. It's not that they're not played at all. Except the peak lockdown times. We did open and do. They had some activities. So obviously, state cricket has not happened. It's eventually going to happen, and I feel for cricketers in these 2 years because a lot of people would have planned like under 16 state will be good for me. It's a stepping stone for me to go on to under 19, which has not happened. But I won't be too concerned about them. I'm more concerned about players who are past under 19 and are looking for employment and are looking to play first class like we spoke about. I think it's a lot harder for them. They start thinking, okay, I've lost 2 years. Let me look at something else. Let me look at a bank job. Let me look at, joining a company where they still have a lot more to offer in cricket. I think those are the kind of people we need to be concerned about. Kids will be fine. I think parents need to be educated that, okay, all is not lost. Under 16 is nothing. Yes, it is good to play for a state, but then it's a long journey, and you need to be part of the journey. So that's very crucial. So I think more than the kids, I think parents need to be told that okay, I know you're investing in your kid, you're investing a lot of time, your energy, financially investing in them, but it should not stop now. This is a time where they have learned a lot. I think they have come out of a pandemic, which itself is a fantastic thing. There's a lot more to look forward to, and they will be having great futures.
Thank you so much, Vidyut. It was a nice conversation with you. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Pleasure.